Welcome back to Africa 54. Nigeria's capital city is a beehive of activity as the country prepares to host the 25th World Economic Forum on Africa, beginning on May the 7th in Abuja. Among the topics to be discussed is how to spur economic growth by investing in the electric power sector. For more discussion on the upcoming forum, we are joined by Robert Mosbacher, Jr., chairman of the Initiative for Global Development. Welcome to Africa 54.
Glad to be here. Thank you, Vincent.
Yes. Now, first, many have been concerned about the ongoings in Nigeria, particularly with the terrorist attacks here and there. Are you concerned as you prepare to go to Nigeria?
No, I'm really not. I think the government will have taken the precautions they need to take, not just for our forum, but in preparation for the World Economic Forum, which is an important crowd.
Indeed, an important crowd, and I know that while you're there, you are particularly going to take a lot of interest in discussions on investing in the electric power sector. This is critical. About 24%, only 24% of Africans have reliable electricity.
Yeah, it is the greatest single impediment to economic growth across the continent, I believe. And so I had an organization called Initiative for Global Development, which is made up of business people, both from the United States as well as across the continent of Africa. And our focus is how to drive more investment into the continent. And in order to do that, we need to help address the issues of electricity and the availability. So what we're focused on is how to speed up the process for development of more electric power plants.
And statistics show that it is estimated that you need about an investment of up to $40 billion every year in the power sector in order to provide power to Africans. How do you do that?
Well, we think one way you do that is by making each power agreement more standardized. In other words, the more you do them is almost like cookie cutters. The faster you can do them and the less time it takes to do them. So today, the average electric power project in Africa takes 5 to 10 years from start to finish. We need to reduce that to 2 to 3 years, and we need to get it much more standardized, and then we increase the rate of development, and I think we'll see that gap beginning to close. $40 billion a year is huge, but if you start doing not just 5 to 10 projects a year, but 10 to 20 or 30 or 40, then I think it starts to close over a period of time.
Some people have said that perhaps instead of having individual countries running several small projects here, they could consolidate this into a kind of a regional power grids, regional power plants. What's your thought on that?
Well, you already have sort of regional use of fuel, as in natural gas. So I think looking at regional projects makes sense. In a country the size of Nigeria, though, for instance, where you've got huge demand, huge population, and large economic growth, it may not make that much sense for Nigeria necessarily to share projects. But when you're looking at smaller countries where the demand is fairly low, I think building projects that can service several countries makes a lot more sense.
Investing in Africa has always been associated with risk. What would you tell potential investors?
That the risk is coming down, and that out of 54 countries across the continent, that probably half of them are not only moving in the right direction, but are safe places to invest. The other half you have to evaluate carefully, but the risk is coming down as evidenced by both the growth rates internally as well as the foreign direct investment. And that's a great barometer. I mean, capital is only going to go in places where they think there's some adherence to the rule of law. And you see that happening in large parts of the continent.
Yes, and we know that there has to be some input by governments while there is private investment. What must African governments do to facilitate this and the understanding that without electric power, you cannot grow the economy?
Well, I think one thing they can do, again, is to understand that while they need electricity, investors need a return. In other words, there is a happy medium. You can create a situation in which power projects can be paid for and can actually turn a small profit to the investors. And governments have to understand that without that profit opportunity, investments won't get made. So some governments just think you should come in and invest and don't worry about the profit, just provide us electricity, but it doesn't work that way. So I think appreciation of the profit incentive on the behalf of the investors, and then to make the process quicker, more predictable, and ultimately one in which you're confident that there will be protection for your investment.
Yes, we do appreciate very much, and we hope that when you're there, we'll talk to you, or when you come back, you'll tell us what you discussed over
I'd
there.
love to. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mosbacher. Well, Mr. Mosbacher Jr., Rob Mosbacher Jr. is the chairman of the Initiative for Global Development's board.